McDonald's is shutting down its experimental beverage-led restaurant concept after about a year and a half.
McDonald's is now known for its dollar menu, is having a tough time getting customers in the door due to the struggling economy. And Annie Gasparo is here to tell us how Mickey D's is making some changes to get more Big Macs on the table.
McDonald's is struggling. The brand is reporting a drop in sales worldwide. They're down by 1%. McDonald's shares have tanked by 15%. Why? Because customers find their burgers too expensive now, and many prefer to eat at home instead.
A phase in the US-China rivalry that feels more like a gem than a dispute is about to begin. Originally a commercial war, it has evolved into a fight of symbols in which both sides seek to undermine the other's economy and identity. Sanctions and tariffs in Washington are growing. Officials consider countermeasures targeted at the core of American culture, while in Beijing, McDonald's, one of the most well-known symbols of U.S. dominance overseas, may now have to deal with widespread limitations in China. The issue is no longer only one of trade. It's all about pride, image, and power. Is this the point at which a trade dispute escalates into something far bigger? Inside China's Ministry of Commerce, rumors circulated that authorities are thinking about launching a strike that would have global consequences. The plan is to increase tariffs on any goods associated with the massive American fast food chain McDonald's. This would go beyond a simple business move. That would be an act of symbolic intent to injure the United States, where its cultural, lifestyle, and global identity influence has traditionally been most pronounced. Already, Washington has responded to this possibility with trepidation. Politico claims that Donald Trump has cautioned his top advisors that doing so would be a direct assault on the American way of life. He sees McDonald's as more than just food. From New York to New Delhi, it has flown as a symbol of American influence. And from Beijing to Chicago. Soon after Trump's scathing comments made news, the White House began preparing an immediate reaction. A comprehensive package of punitive actions was being drafted, CNN reported. New duties were imposed on Chinese consumer items, high-tech electronics, and steel. Insiders discussed previously unheard-of figures, including taxes on some Chinese imports increasing by up to 200%. Price increases in the United States would most likely result from such actions. States. Trump's close aides, however, contended that this show of force was necessary to make a statement. There would be no cornering of Washington, the statement said. Beijing is not the end of the narrative. From New Delhi, a much more dramatic turn is taking shape. According to The Hindu, India is secretly thinking of siding with Beijing. Government representatives there have started talking about their own limitations on fast food restaurants in the United States. An act that would strike to the core of the American identity would be the same sign. This goes beyond market share or pricing within India. The dominance of American brands has long been a source of frustration, as detractors claim it has marginalized domestic companies and hampered local competition. It now seems like a purposeful decision to strike McDonald's in solidarity with Beijing, which might solidify India's alliance with China in a new era of cooperation. A government insider claims that the discussions are taking place behind closed doors. The outcome may also change the balance of power in the world, even though the specifics are still unknown. China and India working together to target one of America's most well-known exports would be revolutionary. McDonald's is more than just a restaurant company, according to economist analysts. Decades of American cultural supremacy are reflected in it and spread internationally as the abbreviation for globalization and Western influence. If China and India moved simultaneously, hundreds of eateries would have to close right away, leaving tens of thousands of workers in a precarious situation. The impact of the shock would go well beyond the balance sheet of the corporation. The idea that American culture is inviolable would be undermined, and it would constitute a blow to American soft power itself. Economists in Washington are already cautioning that going such a route will have repercussions that extend well beyond Asia. If India and China are successful in focusing South Africa, Brazil, McDonald's, and possibly Russia, as well as other BRICS nations, may do the same. A single tariff proposal might become a global campaign against one of America's most powerful cultural icons because of that possibility. In the United States, the political upheaval is intensifying. Some of the biggest agricultural lobbies in the nation are urging the White House to take immediate action, according to the Wall Street Journal. Due to McDonald's massive purchases of U.S. agricultural products, including potatoes and meat, Suppliers worry that they could lose billions in export revenue if they cannot access Asian markets are closed. The contracts associated with McDonald's are vital to many rural producers, and the possibility of disruption is causing anxiety among important stakeholders. According to Trump's close associates, however, his stance is becoming more rigid rather than more flexible. He is said to have stated in private talks that Washington will not give up an inch. A spirit of rebellion reverberates in his remarks. America must demonstrate that it can set terms, despite China's belief that it can. React more violently. Since the attack on McDonald's is perceived as a conscious attempt to deprive one of Washington's most iconic exports, it poses a threat to American consumer culture in general. It will do more than just indicate a shift in tariffs if it is implemented. The global competition between the East and the West will enter a new phase. Washington seems equally committed to proving that its cultural underpinnings are resilient, while China is demonstrating its ability to battle asymmetrically by focusing on symbols rather than buildings. Cannot be broken down, nor does either side appear to be retreating. And that is exactly what is so dangerous about the standoff. Europe is starting to feel the vibrations across the Atlantic. According to diplomats in Brussels, they are keeping a close eye on the issue. According to Financial Times reports, European Union leaders are afraid of being drawn into a confrontation that would upset their already precarious economies. For European industries involved in the supply chain, a concerted strike against McDonald's in Asia would have immediate repercussions. Contracts for everything from packaging and food equipment manufacture to agricultural exports are at risk of contract shrinkage. Additionally, despite their official pronouncements being largely silent, officials in Paris and Berlin are subtly expressing the need for a break from Washington's aggressive measures, given how already stressed Europe's economy is. The United States' internal pressure states keep rising. McDonald's has reportedly made direct contact with the White House, according to Reuters. Executives worried that the company's reputation would suffer irreversibly if restaurants in China and India were closed at the same time in a private letter. The stakes are really high. Tens of billions of dollars might be removed from McDonald's market capitalization, and its stock value could plummet if the company loses two of the biggest Asian regions. Money. Hedge funds, according to New York sources, are already planning ways to protect themselves from a drop, an action that exacerbates market trepidation. State media in China is meticulously constructing the story. The discussion is being framed as a long overdue corrective of foreign influence by publications, such as the People's Daily. McDonald's is presented as an example of the West's overreaching incursion into Asia. On Chinese, this message is being spread by nationalist voices on social media, who are demanding tariffs and pushing for boycotts. The popularity of hashtags calling for support for regional fast food restaurants is paving the way for government intervention. If Beijing moves on, it will be entering a wave of popular support that will make opposition politically expensive. Similar changes are occurring in the mood in India. Government-affiliated programs are already in place to support local alternatives, which might rapidly gain traction if the chains of America are squeezed. As they demand for more robust measures against foreign dominance, entrepreneurs are grabbing the opportunity and positioning their companies as patriotic options. Stronger ties with China and the potential for popular favor are turning out to be an alluring mix for Indian policymakers. It's becoming obvious that Washington is being surrounded by a trap. The White House is reportedly having a number of private meetings with the State Department, the Treasury Department, and America's Trade Representative's Office. The goal is to lay forth plans that include direct diplomatic pressure and increased levies. However, each possible action has risks of its own. Increases in levies could lead to new Beijing retribution. Any effort to pressure India might backfire and force New Delhi to move closer to China. The U.S. is faced with a complex set of choices that might all make its situation worse. The one that the statistics involved are intimidating. China and India collectively account for almost 2 billion consumers. If they band together to attack McDonald's, the effects will go well beyond just fast food. America's standing as a cultural leader will be damaged, undermining the perception of its economic dominance. Harvard Kennedy School experts cautioned that this might turn into a protracted issue of culture and development in which every product, brand, and menu is placed inside a broader conflict. It will extend beyond duties and tariffs. It will be waged via social media campaigns, public opinion, and shifting national allegiances. McDonald's has lost its status as a brand in this way. It is a battleground, and the economic front is still as tense as it is on the battlefield, even as symbols are being brought into the conflict. In August, China's export growth fell to its lowest level in 6 months, indicating that the trade truce's short-term benefits with Washington are rapidly diminishing. To stabilize an economy that is being burdened by low household consumption and growing foreign concerns, Beijing officials are increasingly looking to other sources of demand. Manufacturers are being pushed to look for new markets by the leadership, who are determined to secure yearly growth of about 5%, rather than relying too heavily on fiscal stimulus, which could exacerbate long-term weaknesses. According to customs figures, outbound shipments increased 4.4% in August over the same month last year. That collapsed behind forecasts, as Reuters polled analysts predicted a more robust 5% gain. Additionally, the result was the weakest expansion rate in 6 months, a significant departure from July's more robust 7.2% increase. Imports reported a similar decline in momentum. In August, they improved by just 1.3%, which was much less than the 3% improvement that economists had predicted, after showing growth of 4.1% in July. Statistical biases can be used to explain some of the reduction. Manufacturers scrambled to get their products out before additional tariffs from several trading partners went into force, inflating last year's numbers. Even still, the figures show that China's export-driven economy is being put to the test. Considering the circumstances, the data is still fairly strong, according to Xu Yianchan, senior economist at the Economist Intelligence Unit, who also pointed out that China still has policy levers. Not all of it is deployed. He said that without using broad stimulus measures, state bank credit and tailored monetary easing might offer sufficient support to help sustain the 5% target. How do you feel? Tell us in the comments section. If you like this video, please remember to hit like and subscribe. Thank you for listening. Inside.